First at 9 this Saturday, the 1st of June 2024. Need of the hour. Sri Lanka to face a worse crisis if debt not settled, stresses the president.
How do we get over this issue? If we don't, in about another 15 years, you go through another crisis worse than this.
Highlights the need for a change in the country's political culture. Cuffed. Police arrests wanted suspect in the probe related to 4 ISIS terrorists of Sri Lankan origin arrested in India. Pelting down. Heavy rains affect over 17,000 people. Early landslide warnings in place for 7 districts.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබා ගත හැක.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening. President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the importance of settling local debt, pointing out that Sri Lanka will have to face a worse crisis in another 15 years if it is not settled. Highlighting the need to transform Sri Lanka into an export-oriented economy, President Wickremesinghe stressed that Sri Lanka must reduce obtaining loans by 2035. Addressing a youth dialogue at the President's house, President Wickremesinghe went on to say that a change in Sri Lanka's political outlook is crucial, further calling on the youth of Sri Lanka to think ahead and determine what laws and changes need to be brought about towards transforming Sri Lanka.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe hosted a gathering of several youth-oriented organizations in an event dubbed Youth Dialogue Sri Lankan Youth Leaders of Tomorrow at the President's house in Colombo yesterday. During the dialogue, President Wickremesinghe interacted with youth representatives on a variety of topics including the ongoing reform agenda and recovery efforts initiated by the government of Sri Lanka.
Far the local debt is concerned, this year we are trying to balance the budget and do that without printing money. So the value of the rupee is maintained. But how do we get over this issue? Because if we don't, I will tell you, in about another 15 years, you go through another crisis worse than this. And then there will be no one to help you out. It's your future, more than mine. Basically, most of you have at least another 40-50 years to run. So what do you want Sri Lanka to be? This is the basic issue. We have to carry this on without a break. Then we have to make ourselves into a export-oriented economy. Easier said than done. By about 2035, we should be able to reduce the amount of money we are borrowing and at some stage come to a situation where we are equal or we have surplus. From 2025, we have till 2042 to pay. By that time, we should have a surplus situation. So from there, if you take 6 more years, it is 2048, the 100th anniversary of independence. From today, how many more years is it? 24 years. Now, when I said 2048, a lot of people laughed. But that's not their politics. Their politics is 5 years. Give a promise, get in there. Some of them asked, why are you talking about 2048? We won't be there. I said, yes, you won't be there. I won't be there. But there are a lot of people in this country who's going to be there. So that's why you need a change in outlook, change in politics. We are all at the moment, one group is saying, we'll reduce everything possible. Another one says, everyone has failed, so give us a chance. What are you asking for? That is not what the country requires now. You have to look at the reality and see how you can take the country in there. So it's your future that is there. I'm saying transform this country. We have to get the new technologies. We have to modernize agriculture. From the time of the Anuradhapura kings till the end of the British rule, our main economy was exporting agricultural products, whether it was grain or whether it was cinnamon or spices or tea or rubber. After independence, what have we done? Look at manufacturing. How can we be competitive? I've always said you've got to link up to India and get on to the Indian Tamil Nadu economy. So you have to think ahead. What are the laws? What are the changes we are going to make? And what is your future?
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
ජීවිතේ හැම තැනකදීම ස්මාර්ට් වෙන්න. පොලිය විතරක් ගෙවාගෙන යන්න. CDB Smart Draft.
Now, a suspect wanted by the Sri Lankan authorities with alleged ties to the 4 ISIS terrorists arrested in India has been apprehended in a joint operation launched by the Criminal Investigation Department and the Terrorist Investigation Division late last night. The wanted suspect, named Osman Pushparaj Gerard, was nabbed following a tip-off received by the investigating agencies.
On the 25th of May, Sri Lanka police released images and CCTV footage of a suspect who is said to have had ties with the 4 ISIS terrorists of Sri Lankan origin captured in Ahmedabad, India on the 19th of May. The suspect, named Osman Pusparaja Gerard, was revealed to be a 46-year-old resident in Dematagoda, Colombo. The police headquarters informed that a reward of 2 million rupees will be offered to anyone who provides correct information pertaining to the suspect and assured that the confidentiality of the informant will be secured. Against this backdrop, a joint operation was launched by the Criminal Investigation Department and the Terrorist Investigation Department following a tip-off received by the authorities that the suspect was hiding in Colombo. As a result of the operation, the suspect was captured last night, detained and interrogated. According to the police, interrogations revealed that the suspect, while having close connections with the 4 terrorists, had also participated in their lectures. The police added that the suspect has provided support in organizing these lectures. The police further revealed that the interrogation of the suspect, who is currently in detention, will continue. Meanwhile, the Terrorist Investigation Division obtained permission from the Fort Magistrates Court today to investigate the bank accounts of 3 persons who were arrested in Sri Lanka on suspicion of having ties with the 4 ISIS terrorists of Sri Lankan origin arrested in India. Investigations will focus on whether they received money from foreign countries. Further, the Fort Magistrates Court today ordered the investigating authorities to collect any CCTV footage which establishes that the suspects conducted online transactions.
Now in your latest weather update, considering the persisting heavy rains, the Road Development Authority temporarily closed off the Valipanna entrance of the Southern Expressway until further notice as a section of the road was inundated. Meanwhile, as per the latest reports of the Disaster Management Centre, the number of people affected by the heavy downpours has come down to 17,119 persons. However, several areas continue to remain inundated today, inconveniencing the public.
Parts of Sri Lanka continue to remain affected by adverse weather patterns following the activation of the southwest monsoon conditions. During the past 24 hours, the highest rainfall was recorded from Magalavatta area in the Kalutara district at 264.5 mm. As a result, Matagoma and Nagalavatta areas remain flooded today, disrupting traffic in the area. Heavy downpours experienced in the Buttala area last evening also led to the inundation of several roads in the region. Similarly, the increased water level of the Ging River left several nearby areas inundated, inconveniencing the residents in the vicinity. The Irrigation Department meanwhile urged residents living in the low-lying areas of the Kala River basin to remain vigilant as the area received heavy rainfall above 100 mm from the early hours of today. Due to the persisting heavy rains, the Road Development Authority announced that the Valipanna entrance of the Southern Expressway will be closed until further notice as a section of the road remains flooded. Against this backdrop, the latest reports of the Disaster Management Centre stated that a total of 17,119 individuals of 4,947 families in 20 districts were severely affected by the persisting inclement weather patterns. Meanwhile, the Met Department issued an amber advisory for heavy rains above 100 mm to occur in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Gaul, Madhara and Nuwara districts. In its advisory, the department stated that the prevailing heavy rains are expected to continue in the southwestern part of the island tomorrow. Taking the current weather patterns into account, the National Building Research Organisation issued landslide warnings to 7 districts.
With the sudden rain in the today morning, considering rains in the past 2 weeks and the weather forecast issued by the Department of Meteorology, the issued landslide early warning has been updated and extended. With that, warning level 2 alert amber warning was issued to Matagoma and Ingiriya Divisional Secretary Division Kalutara District, Udapalata Divisional Secretary Division Kandy District, Ambaguma Korla and Kothmare Divisional Secretary Division Nuwara District, Ratnapura and Nimulpe Divisional Secretary Division Ratnapura District, warning level 1, yellow, watch warning was issued to Sitawak and Paduka Divisional Secretary in Colombo District, Tawalama, Niagama, LPT and Nelua Divisional Secretary in Gaul District, Dodangoda, Varalavita and Mula Singular Divisional Secretary in Kalutara District, Udunuvara, Gangawata Korle, Yatinuvara, Gangihara Korle and Pasbai Korle Divisional Secretary in Kandy District, Cape Goal, Varakapola, Ramukana, Dernegala, Ruanella, Bulakkovitia, Aranayaka, Dehiovita, Mavanella, Yatiantota and Galigamo Divisional Secretary in Cape Goal District, Mawatakama, Ridigama Divisional Secretary in Kurnaga District, Nuwara Divisional Secretary division in Norelli district, Ayagama, Kirialla, Ahaligoda, Kuruvita, Kalavana, Alapata and Balangoda diesel division in Rathangola district.
Now, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Lanka IOC and Sinopec Energy revised the prices of their petroleum products with effect from today. While prices of key fuel products decreased, the prices of super diesel and 95-octane petrol remained unchanged this month. Despite the fuel price reductions which came into effect, the public transportation unions have decided to keep the existing fares unchanged.
State fuel supplier Ceylon Petroleum Corporation announced the revision of its fuel prices which came into effect from midnight yesterday. According to the latest price revision, the price of 92-octane petrol was reduced by 13 rupees, bringing its new retail price down to 355 rupees. The prices of auto diesel and kerosene were reduced by 16 rupees and 13 rupees respectively. Accordingly, the price of a litre of auto diesel currently stands at 317 rupees, while a litre of kerosene stands at 202 rupees. While prices of key petroleum products reduced as such, CPETCO announced that prices of 95-octane petrol and super diesel will remain unchanged. In the meantime, Lanka Indian Oil Corporation too revised their fuel prices in line with the CPC's price revisions. The Chinese Petroleum Corporation Sinopec also announced their fuel price revision effective from today. The price of petrol 92-octane came down by 10 rupees to currently stand at 355 rupees, while the price of auto diesel was reduced to 314 rupees, depicting a price reduction of 19 rupees. Additionally, the auto diesel price was reduced by 46 rupees following the fuel price revisions in the month of May and June. Despite the reduction in fuel prices, private bus owners claim that bus fares will not be reduced.
The national policy on bus fares states that a bus fare revision can only occur if there is a 4% reduction in diesel prices. Despite the diesel prices being reduced by 16 rupees through the latest fuel price revision, we only get a benefit of 2.8%. Therefore, it is impossible to reduce fuel prices at the moment.
We will reduce bus fares from the 15th of this month if the government is able to facilitate the issue of season tickets to the public.
Similarly, three-wheeler drivers confirmed that their fare prices would also remain unchanged.
We are not able to pass on the benefit of the 13 rupee reduction in fuel prices to our passengers. There will not be a revision to three-wheeler fares.
Now, in your political news, leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake, claims that the Sri Lankan economy and its society must be shocked to induce the transformation that the country yearns. Addressing a summit today, Anurukumara Dissanayake further stated that the economic and social shock so needed must be caused by innovation and creativity.
The NPP's Engineering Professionals National Summit was held today in Colombo under the patronage of the National People's Power Party leader Anurukumara Dissanayake.
Your participation here today not only encourages us, it also gives us the faith that we can change this country. Although Sri Lanka failed, many nations that suffered similar fates have been able to grasp the knowledge brought forward by new technology. While the world advances rapidly ahead, Sri Lanka lags behind. Not only has the country failed economically, but we have also become prisoners of a catastrophic social tragedy. Should we let this continue or should we change it? Please know that we cannot change the trajectory of this nation if we let it flow as it currently does. If we are serious about making a change, we need to shock the economy and the society. We need to strike the system down with a sledgehammer. We can't keep delaying solutions. So how do we cause that shock? The first solution should be innovation and creativity. We should create an innovative and creative society. I ask you who the Minister of Science and Technology is. Even I don't know who that particular minister is. Have you noticed that the minister who is assigned the Science and Technology portfolio is usually a minister who is on very bad terms with the President? We believe that research and development is crucial for Sri Lanka's transformation. There are many Sri Lankan scientists worldwide engaged in research pertaining to various fields. We have begun discussions with them and most of them will arrive in Sri Lanka on the 29th of June, while others will connect with us online to assist Sri Lanka's transformation. We need leaders who can overcome challenges. We do not need leaders who are afraid of challenges. We call those brave leaders groundbreakers. We need a community and leaders who inspire change. Now, leader of the Samagijana Balawege, Sajith Premadasa, ensures that all government school children in Sri Lanka will receive school meals by the end of 2024 with government intervention. Addressing a gathering, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa called on all factions of the opposition to compete with the SJB in serving the general public of Sri Lanka.
The 214th edition of the Sakwala program was held at the Amagahahena Mahavidyalaya in Hambantota under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
I will not lie by saying that all schools of Sri Lanka will be transformed into smart schools by the end of the year. However, we will embark on that journey. The country has embraced a policy at the moment to provide school meals only to some schools. I would like to remind those who call themselves leaders that it is my father who started the policy of providing meals and school uniforms to children. I promise that I will provide nutritious meals to 4.1 million school children of all 10,096 government schools with government intervention before the end of this year. Children must be provided with the right to use smart devices beyond the confines of the classroom. If we follow the current path, this country will never come out of crisis. Education will be damaged irreparably. Government funds alone will not be sufficient to finance education. We have formulated several out-of-the-box concepts to develop education. Please don't try to be selfish in this bankrupt nation. I invite all factions of the opposition to compete with us to serve the general public. Become leaders who put their speeches into action. Become leaders who render a service.
Welcome back. Now, leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayavira, says the first cut, which consists of his party's strategic plan for the road ahead, will be released by the end of this month. He made these comments while addressing the Monaragala District Convention of the Maubima Janata Party.
The Monaragala District Convention of Maubima Janata Party was held today under the patronage of its party leader Dilip Jayavira.
Dilip Jayavira is a leader who is trying to inspire change in Sri Lanka. When many were fearful of enlisting in the armed forces, he created Api to encourage the youth to join the military. Many young men and women from the Monaragala joined the armed forces. He masterminded that entire operation.
Our country is caught in a debt trap. We are dependent upon the donations of India and China. Please know that the solution to all those woes will only be found in entrepreneurship.
He created presidents. I was a member of the SLFP from 1994, but our party has been decimated today. So we decided to embark upon a political journey with Dilip Jayavira.
The government in power today does not have the citizens' mandate. Through the new legislation purportedly aimed at transforming the economy, the president is trying to accumulate more power even beyond that of the parliament. He is trying to gain the power to control investors. These are very serious matters.
On the 27th of June, we will release the first cut, which will contain our strategic plan for the journey ahead. After that, we will consult you on your thoughts about the first cut and release the second cut before the election. After reading the contents of that, you can decide whether or not you want to cast your vote for us. Please know that we had discussions with many experts with entrepreneurial mindsets in relevant fields. Through those discussions, we will provide solutions to Samurdhi beneficiaries. I promise that we will bring up the minimum income of households with Samurdhi beneficiaries up to 40,000 rupees within one season. We will uplift you. We recently invited several political parties to join us, especially because they have similar ideologies to ours. They have been branded as racists. That must be changed. Let's defeat racists and recreate nationalist leaders while ensuring that innocent communities aren't pitted against each other. And now let's take a look at some local news in brief.
Pursuant to discussions between officials of the Russian embassy in Sri Lanka and the Russian security forces, State Minister of Foreign Affairs Tharaka Balasurya claims that all retired Sri Lankan soldiers currently serving in the Russian military will be repatriated on the 26th and 27th of this month. Two 13-year-old school students were arrested by the Wattawala police for stealing more than 200,000 rupees from a residence at the Hydri estate in the Wattawala police area. According to the police, the arrestees have purchased a mobile phone, a cricket bat, 8 pigeons and few fish tanks with the stolen money. In other local news, tensions erupted today between the Norelia police and supporters of the Minister of Estate Infrastructure Development, Jeevan Thondaman. The incident occurred when Jeevan Thondaman reported to the Norelia police while the police were inquiring into a complaint lodged against the minister related to his conduct recently in Boralanda.
Now in your business news, the Sri Lanka Purchasing Managers Index for construction decreased to an index value of 31.9 in April 2024. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, this indicates a contraction in construction activities compared to the previous month. According to survey's respondents, the central bank stated that most construction sites were temporarily closed off during the month due to extended holidays due to New Year's, leading to this month-on-month decline. New orders decreased in April with fewer working days. However, the country's monetary regulator added that most respondents were confident that the increasing trend in tender opportunities will continue in the upcoming months. Further, the participatory firms widely highlighted the intense competition in the market. The employment and quantity of purchases declined during the month, in line with the decline in total activities and new orders. Further, the decreasing trend in overall price levels continued in April as well. The International Monetary Fund said that they are deepening their cooperation with the World Bank Group through an enhanced framework to help countries scale up action to confront the threat of climate change. The IMF stated that the collaboration will provide critical support for countries' climate strategies through an integrated country-led approach to policy reforms and climate investments.
In a statement, the global lender added that within their respective mandates, the World Bank Group and them will leverage their analytics, technical assistance, financing and policy expertise to enhance country-driven reform programs. Under the 3 principles that underpin the framework, countries, the World Bank Group and the IMF will work closely together to identify each country's climatic challenges and the priority policy reforms needed to address them. This process will be informed by the World Bank Group's country climate and development reports, the IMF's climate-related analytics and countries' own climate ambitions. Subsequently, the World Bank Group and the IMF will work with their multilateral development banks and development partners to help countries implement the reforms through technical assistance and financing. Furthermore, upon request, the World Bank Group and the IMF will help establish country-led platforms designed to mobilize additional climate finance, including from the private sector. The IMF stated that this enhanced cooperation between the 2 institutions will foster country-driven partnerships, galvanize policy changes and scale up investments to meet countries' climate needs. Further, it added that the joint effort will also optimize increased resources and institutions are dedicated to climate action and crowd in additional resources from development partners and the private sector.
Now in your latest corporate updates, Haley's group company Unisys Engineering PLC, which announced the delisting from the Colombo Stock Exchange last month, submitted an offer letter to shareholders to buy back shares at ₹6 a share. In a statement, Haley's group stated that the acceptance of the exit offer commenced at 9 a.m. on the 28th of May and will close at 1:30 p.m. on the 26th of June this year. With that, let's have a look at some corporate news in brief.
Dialogue Asiata PLC is set to power Dialogue Schools Rugby League 2024 with the season scheduled to kick off on the 14th of June. A total of 84 school teams will compete across 3 divisions during this year's Dialogue Schools Rugby League 2024. Cargill's Bank announced the appointment of a new chairman to the board of directors of the company. Accordingly, Asoka Piris is appointed as the new chairman of the director board with effect from the 3rd of July 2024. The company stated that this new appointment comes following the resignation of Richard Abel, who served in the position for 9 years. In other corporate news, the Export Development Board, Institute for Future Creations, London College of Fashion and Chamber of Ethical Lifestyle Enterprises launched the Creative Sri Lanka 2030 project to promote ethical, sustainable manufacturing and increase export of value-added niche products. As part of this initiative, 10 pioneering Sri Lankan brands will be selected to showcase the nation's dedication to sustainability, ethical practices and cultural heritage on a global scale with support from CELE and Good Life X. The program seeks to promote Sri Lankan crafts internationally and make a significant impact on the local economy by fostering a sustainable business model that benefits artisans and their communities.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Ada Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.adaderana.lk for the latest developments around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.